I got completely sidetracked in my last video, so today I'm actually going to show you what I wanted to show you in the last video. We are going to download an AHK library using AHK. Currently you're looking at the function that does exactly that, but first let me explain how it works. Let's go to ahklib, a file where I store a bunch of libraries and install something cool. Okay, let's go to Autoupdate. He has a bunch of cool stuff that I showed you in my last video, and install something that might be nice. Sort. Okay, what's in it? A bunch of sorting algorithms. Sure. So right now, as you can see, there is this part of the link. However, if instead of that we put this, let's see if that works. It does. Boom. That is so funny. Hold on, let me solve this. Right. You also have to delete this. Now what you get is a page which entire HTML is just the code from that file in which we were just in. So literally this code. This is really useful because we can send a GET request with HTTP to that site, and all that site has is the actual code that we're looking for. We get the code and we write it onto a file in our standard library folder. About that, let me read you the docs because they weren't obvious to me. So you can include using this syntax, and I often do. As you can see here, what is that referring to? Well, this folder. So C users, your username, documents, AutoHotkey, and the lib folder. It will not exist by default, I'm pretty sure, so you'll have to create this folder. And now, when you try to include a library with this syntax, it will try to look at this folder. Really nice, because now you don't have to specify the full path or even a relative path to the folder wherever you store it. No, just put it here and access it from wherever. It's really nice. So let's try out this cool thing. Git install AHK library, and we're going to give it this link. And first of all, there is no, what am I even installing? Sort. I'm installing sort. I think, oh, well, that's my library. Sure, let's choose a different one then. Crypto? What? JSON I already have. Mouse hook, regex, what is that for? There are so many libraries. Sure. It's probably useful, I just don't look. So let's copy this and put it instead of that. I don't have a regex library of my own. So we run the script. Boom, it's installed, and here it is. It appeared just there. Magical, isn't it? I love it. Now I can access it. That's not it. Here it is. However, there is a encoding issue that might appear that for some reason has a question mark at the start. Entirely fixed. And once again, because of the encoding, different languages are not supported. that's most definitely an issue with my implementation, because I use write file, my syntax sugar thing, and in write, I guess not. There is some way, yeah, here, to specify the encoding. So there's probably a way to make the encoding UTF-8 with BOM, which is what I recommend you use, because it supports Unicode characters, which are weird, and different languages, and so on. So that's just a bad part of my implementation, which I'll try to fix. Actually, let me write it down. Nevertheless, we installed the library just now, and I use multiple of those. What if I had a nice way to update my libraries automatically? Considering that the encoding issue is fixed, and I don't imagine it's a difficult thing to fix, likely by the time you see this video, it will already be fixed. So write file will either still be in the global library or in the text library. I always leave a link to my GitHub profile. It's in lib-v2. That's where all of my libraries are. So I'll probably fix it by then. So don't worry about it, essentially. Now we're going to make an updater of the libraries that I use. But before that, I should probably explain more concretely how this function works. First of all, static lib folder. That refers to this folder that I showed you off. Obviously, you can change it to some other place in case you feel more comfortable that way. Maybe there's some reason. Whatever it is, you can change it. And let's look at this. It's in my documents, AutoHotkey lib. Simple enough. Now we get, well, we pass the link, we remove the GitHub part of it. So you can actually just specify this, but I generally have the full link rather than that, because a full link is more useful. So whatever you want. And it removes the blob, which turns out we do need to remove. I have no idea what that is. Oh, I made sure it only removes the first one in case for some reason there's blob after the link blob. Cool, we get HTML. You can just say that, Axel Fulber. I can't even pronounce my own name. We specify this link basically instead of the github.com to get the raw text of that file. And before we go on any longer, get HTML, what it does. To be fair, I'm not good at internet things and how they operate, but I was taught how to do this. You create an object, a COM object, that sends a GET request to this link, which you pass. No idea what that true does. And there's no hint to what it does, but I guess it should be there. You send that request, wait for a response. If there's, well, usually, if there's no internet, then it will give you an error. If there's an error, it returns nothing. But if it did everything successfully, it returns the response text, which is the HTML of a page. So this get HTML function that I have, I use it in a couple of places. For example, I have this weather getter, which I used to have in a different place. As a matter of fact, I made a video on it like half a month ago? No idea. Basically, now it's there. I use get HTML for that. And a bunch of careless rejects. So It's not the best implementation, so I'm not gonna show it to you again. Cool, get link, epic, amazing, regex match. What is that, right? That's a good question. Hold on, let me figure it out. I figured it out. So basically we take the full link that we now got and we're taking this. There is a built-in function called path split or something of that nature that does the regex for you. So it takes a path to a file and splits it to different parts. There's one option to get the name plus extension of the file. However, this is a link, not a path, so I'm not using that. This is done just so you don't have to name the file yourself. You generally won't care. So it just takes that, and that is now the new name of that file. So we write that file, basically creating it or overwriting it if it already exists. Lib folder, which is this, the standard place where all your libraries should be, or can be, if you want to use the cooler syntax. The name of the new file, and the HTML of the file, meaning the full code. And this info is just for me, essentially, so I know for sure that, yes, indeed, it got installed, everything went correctly. You can use the message box, or watch my info video, where I show off this info function, how to use it. There's not much to it, but most importantly, how it works, all the dependencies that you might need for it, and how to replace them potentially or write them yourself. So this function is all we need. There are 2 dependencies, 3, 4. Sure, this is not really needed. Neither is this. This is just the same as saying that, but in a more manageable way for me. You don't have to use it. Get HTML, I showed you the function. It's in my gets library. Write file is in global, will be in text. Info, not necessarily needed. There's going to be a link to that video in the description and in a card, which you just got several seconds ago. So let's get to it. First of all, do I have this? I don't. Okay, let's do it here then. GitHub update HK libraries. Essentially, what this function is going to be is just multiple callings of this install HK library function. So git install HK library, and I specify a bunch of links to that. So, well, to be fair, I'm not really interested in this regex library, but I do want to update string. So let's go to hklib, where I already have a link to that. Let's copy it and go back. Boom. That's not it. Hold on. Okay. This is the first library that I want to update. I use print, however, I changed it up a bit, so I don't want it to get updated. Plus, it was written 2 years ago. It's not going to be updated, likely. Unless Thugby magically watches my previous video where I showed off a small annoyance with it, I guess. Anything else? Let's check out. What did I do? Nothing, okay. String, JSON, same thing there. Remember, I showed you that you should probably change the space parameter on the default value, because otherwise you will get unreadable JSON. So I'm not going to auto update that either. Eval, on the other hand, I didn't even touch. What is eval, you might say? Good question. Let me show you. I made a calculator, but it was really easy once I found this library. 1 plus 2 is 3. What? Thing is, when I type something in here, that's a string. There is no way to say, oh, 1 plus 2. That will just be 1 plus 2 as a string, as text. It won't become 3 magically. And this library makes that happen. It makes that happen magically. Let's see where it is. Okay, here it is. E, infos round eval. That's the eval function. You give it input and it tries to see it as if you just wrote that as an expression. So you take the string that you inputted. Wait, how do you say that properly? Which you input. That sounds weird. Which you inputted sounds even weirder. Please tell me in the comments what's the correct way to say that, because I don't know. I would like to know. So, take the string, convert it to an expression. That expression gets evaluated, and here you go, your result. However, it's kind of limited to simple stuff like 1 plus 2. There are brackets that you can use, so plus, well, that, in this case, the ordering doesn't matter. There's also power. I don't even remember if that, 2 asterisks for power, is even a thing in HK. I haven't used power once, but I think that's it. And then you do modulus. Modulus, is it? Actually, I can't be sure whether or not it works. Sure, let's test it. It doesn't. And also math functions don't work, or at least only some of them. Maybe at this point they already do. I don't know. So a really useful library for one specific thing, making a calculator in your runner. And I use it. What is 3? Oh, that's of the round function. That's why you shouldn't nest function calls in each other, because it gets confusing really fast. This is pretty readable, but not ideal. Let's be real here. Yeah, so that I actually do want to update. However, I do not remember the link. And I don't think I have it here. Yep, I don't. Let me find it. I think I started. Alright, I found it. And it's kinda insane that I am the only person that started this library. And it's amazing. Like, what? So go ahead and give some love to this person, because I love using this, and I would die. I would simply die without it. It's so useful. So, once again, we take the link and traverse the, I think, 10 files that I opened. Well, that was easy. Git install library, and then boom. Cool. Now I have that function that auto updates my libraries. However, I don't like the fact that it's going to be called, wait, I'm stupid. I am ridiculously stupid. That's the full link, actually. Forget that. Still, I don't like that it's going to be called eval with an underscore before it. Why would it? It's kind of ridiculous. I don't like that name. So, I want to implement a way to specify a name if you want to. And this is pretty easy, and let's do it. File name can be unset. So, if isn't set file name, then we do this usual thing where we make that new file name. However, if it's set, new file will be file name. Easy enough. Now there's a way to actually specify a name you might like more. Which is what we're gonna do now. Do keep in mind that you have to specify the extension as well. I personally like it more. You might not. So. It will be called eval, I think, yeah, with a capital letter. As simple as that. Perfect. Now let's implement that into my runner. Do you ever just feel like there is a tarakan? That's hilarious. A cockroach on you and scrolling up your arm. I really don't like that. If someone does like that, I'm afraid of them. So that's what making a lot of second channel videos does to a person. Please realize that as time goes on, I'll say more and more unhinged shit that will be weird to hear. Hope you like that. The most difficult thing about this is thinking where to put this. I think here, update. I don't think I have that anywhere else as a name for a key. GitHub, update HK, definitely not. GitHub, update HK libraries. And that's it. Let's do a gaip, boom. See? Told you. Vim is amazing. I just remembered the scheme I actually used for this, and it's the length of the key. Cool, let's update the script and now update the libraries. And as you can see, I still haven't fixed that, but once you just delete that single character, here we go. What changed? Interesting. Wait, what's the previous thing? Class string 2 and static new was... They were both there, and so was this. Oh, I see. That got added into the class. It used to be outside of it. Interesting. Okay, sure. Any other changes? Oh my god, split path. They fucking added split path. That is big. Let's check out how it works. So split path, we split the path, get everything, and it returns the object. Fucking finally. Finally. I hate these things, you know? I fucking despise them. They're clunky, and they're used in far more places than it should be in v2, making it awkward. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. I see. What I actually wanted to do is now no incoming pull request to you, Descalada. Yes, to me that's important. So now it's an object that you get. You say, oh, I want the file name, I want the dir extension, name no extension. So the name of the file without the extension and the drive. That makes far more sense to me than having to remember at which comma you have to use that. That is so big, and thank you whoever implemented that, whether it's Descalada or someone else. Okay. What's the difference? Uses char now. Char and ord. I'll cover them in a future video. I have something that uses them. Both of them actually. Okay. That's pretty cool. And with me fixing the encoding, you won't have to change anything in those libraries. They will just work by themselves. So what you could do is when you restart your computer in your auto run HK script, which at least I have, you just call this function and it updates your libraries every time you restart your computer. Amazing, isn't it? I think that's great. So here's an idea for you. Oh, eval changed a lot? Really? Well, that's amazing. Does it use 4 spaces? Blah. It should be 3. It's the golden middle. Nevertheless, I hope you learned something new today. Maybe got some ideas. And if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and drink some coffee because it's tasty. Goodbye.